Alright folks, so this is McCrory's guide to installing a VBXE into a 1088 XEL. So, a couple of things. I've got some pictures attached, but the best way to start is to first take a look at your VBXE. Make sure it's oriented. You're going to want to add pins to this connector, this one, and one pin right here in pin 8. You can use right angle pins. They kind of look like this. Or you can use straight pins, which it just depends on your orientation. I like the angle pins for this area just because it's a little neater to get at. The one thing you want to avoid though is I think these pins are too short. They've got the little bump at the end, so I would avoid these straight pins. So you've got that oriented. Also on the back is a signal switch. In this position it's NTSC. Now those are the ways mine came shipped to me. Yours may be shipped in a different section, but this right here is now in PAL position. If your screen comes up and it's black and white, it's probably set to the wrong setting. So just change that to whatever fits for you. So I've soldered these on, obviously. I use these really easy to find colored jumper wires. You can get them on Amazon for like, I think it's 10 for $5 for a package. They split up. They come in huge, big long lines about yay big like this, and you can easily just split them into different combinations. The reason why I do that is because it's easy to keep together and you don't have a bunch of old, a lot of single wires flipping around. Even this way, now I could have left them all together so that they kind of split off, but I figured this was easier to see. The other thing you want to do is you want to print out the schematic for the 1088 XEL so that you can see these markings. So what I do is I've got a book of stuff of where I need to install things and how I need to put them, and so I just sort of set this out so that I can read it, and I put it right here so I can read all these different lines. I'm going to leave this over here so we can see it and refer to it. The next thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you've printed out the file that you can find on Lothric's website, which is the VBXE manual. This is my copy, obviously. What you do want to flip to is for the 1088 XEL, you want to follow the 800XL drawings. All of these have a reference, and I've put them here. I've attached this as a picture, but when I mean pin 6 top, I mean that if you went to the schematic, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, I flipped those around. Okay, well, don't read that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. IRQ. IRQ. X cell is EXT on the motherboard, which is right there. Now I say pin 5 bottom, but obviously I'm counting from the wrong direction. Yes, I know this is pin 1. I'll have to change that in my notes. But that's X cell. And then ground, obviously, is ground right there. Pin CASINH is this right here, the /CI. And then don't worry about this second ground. It doesn't need to be connected. That's not connected. That's not connected. Now, this one right here, which is pin 1 on J6. If this is not connected, your board won't boot. And so it goes from this pin here, which is pin 1, to pin 2 on the oscillator. That jumper that used to be there comes off. And you know it's pin 2 because see the white rectangle next to it right there? That's pin 1. What's connected is pin 2. This jumper right here, the NTSC PAL, doesn't really matter because it's controlled by the VBXE, but I change it to reflect the system. So you take these jumper wires, you connect them to where they need to go, and then if you've got a CF2 or CF3, then just use the same positions that mirror this here. So this one, as you can tell, this is the VB, which is J1 pin 8, J1 right there, pin 8. It's got to go to the VB pin, VB on the ultimate board, which MyTech has put on the board. If you look right here, it says right there, VB. So that corresponds to that position right there. And then the IRQ, which is right here. You'll notice it's the purple wire right there, which corresponds with pin 1 on J3. Okay, so this goes to the purple wire right there. So just make those connections, and then over here I try to color code. This is where this stuff comes in handy. I try to color code it. So green, red, video ground, and then over here control, right? So what you do for that is flip to the manual here. And you're making these connections to correspond with these pins. So on J4, which is right here, it's pin 1, pin 2, pin 3, pin 4. Those correspond. So this is ground, this yellow. That goes to video ground right there. And then RGB control. That's control on the motherboard there. It's the orange wire. And then obviously red, green, and blue. Red, green, blue. They correspond to the red, green, blue here. All right? So when you've got all that connected, you connect a 13-pin DIN to the back. And if everything's been connected correctly, then you should be able to have output on a stock SC1224, which is, covered in paint because I still haven't cleaned it off. The nice thing about this setup, though, is that, listen very carefully. Hopefully you can hear so it's got the SIO noise. I'll do it again. Let's turn this up. And that's just a stock SC1224. There's been no modifications done to it. And that's as right as rain. Now, I'm going to turn this off for a second. And remember, you can have simultaneous video output for as many video options as you have. In order to use a stock 1224 that's not the JVC model, you have to make sure that your 1088 XEL has been modified on the back. This modification right here has to be completed, or only the JVC 1224 will work on your connection. Whether it's a VBXE or Sophia Revision B, it's got to have that modification. And if you go to the website, there's a picture that will help you walk you through it, and it looks like this picture that I'm going to find right here. Okay? So that's just the quick and dirty. Wanted to get it out there and make sure that's done. I haven't flashed this U1M yet, so I can't show you the extended VBXE features just because I've got no CF set up yet to install the drivers. But as soon as I flash it with the newest version of the firmware, this one will be good to go, and it will be going out to its owner.